Hey, hey, what's up, everybody? Horror Flick Chicks back again for another episode of the Horror Flick Chicks podcast. Sandra, Sonia, and Angie here. What's up,
Hey,
guys?
hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hi.
So we are back. We have been recapping the newest episodes of the newest season of Yellowjackets, season three. Today we'll be talking about episode five, entitled "Did Ty Do That?" All right. And so this episode goes in right where the last one left off. The last episode, we find out that Lottie is dead. Whether it was an accident, whether it was foul play, we have no idea. But you know that the Yellow Jackets will be investigating. So this episode starts off with who else but Misty in the morgue looking at the body. I guess she's there to identify the body. And she's also there to try and get some clues, right? Try to figure out what's going on. So she tries to get the personal effects of Lottie. And of course, she's not family, so she's not technically supposed to get it. But because she's Misty, she um blackmails the mortician there to get her her bag of stuff, whatever she had on her when she was found. And while he's going to get it, she also takes some hair and some dirt from her fingernails, puts it in a little baggie to for more clues. You know,
Gotta love Misty.
I know.
The funny thing
I know
about
she.
funny thing about this scene is that she goes, she's in the morgue and the technician that's there with the bodies, she's trying to convince him, to let her kind of snoop around and get some information. And he's trying to say, no, well, I can't really do that. But she throws up the citizen detective badge. I'm a citizen
Yeah,
Yeah.
detective. And it seems like this guy is part of that group
that
too,
world, right,
because she's kind of she is insinuating that he may have been a part of a crime of stealing from the dead bodies. And
right,
she's like, you wouldn't want this information to go out, from a fellow citizen detective to another.
right.
Yeah, she
So that's
found one of the things that
convinces
he
him.
stole on eBay, and she
Yeah.
threatened him with it.
Yeah,
So he lets her stay in the room for a minute. Misty's got all sorts of tricks up her sleeve. She knows
She's
how to get
sneaky.
around things.
She's
she's
sneaky.
she's nutty and sneaky, but she's smart.
Yeah.
She's smart. So yeah, so she gets all this information. Well, she, not information, but she gets all the of Lottie's things and the little, the hair and the dirt and whatever in the little bag. And then she brings the girls to her house, showing a tie and van, and informs them that Lottie is dead. And at first I don't believe her, but then she lays out like the crime scene photos, which is very very morbid, but also very misty. She's like,
I mean, it
well,
is very suspicious that she was able to get some kind of dirt and hair from under her fingernails, because that suspects foul play to me. I mean, that's not
oh
very,
yeah, for sure.
so automatically from the bat, you can kind of tell that something fishy went on here with
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. There's something happened. Something definitely happened. So we are you know, they're just trying to investigate. They let the girl she let the girls know that Lottie's dead, shows her the evidence, and basically said we gotta figure out what's going on. Um, and right off the bat, Shauna insinuates that Misty might have done it. How do we know you didn't do it? She already thinks that Misty's, you know, nutty, and they had the incident with the car with the brakes going out in
Well,
the
she thinks
car,
she did that to the car. So what? Yeah. I mean,
right? Which we found out last week that nobody messed with the brakes. It was just like a faulty line. So, you know, she's automatically thinking that Misty must have done it, and Misty gets all huffy and puffy.
And
They got
she kind of brings up the fact that they were at the nursing home when she was volunteering, Shauna.
right,
And she brings up the fact that, there was a time period there where you left early. I was
right,
mysteriously locked in the freezer and you left early. Like you could have did that and you could have took that time to go and kill
right.
like
Nobody knew where you
so
were.
well, I know where you were, what you were doing. Like 'cause,
Yeah.
like it's logical to think that. So
Right. It's true. It's very true.
okay.
So, so yeah, so then Misty gets all upset about the accusation and she storms out of the house. Meanwhile, they're like, isn't this Misty's house? Did she just
Yeah.
storm out of her
That's
own
pretty
house?
funny.
She's
That,
like,
So,
wait, you guys get out.
and then she comes back in. You guys get out.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That was just before the opening credits.
Yeah.
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 Um, so we come back, so we go back to the 90s in the woods. The girls are trying to decide what they're going to do with Coach Ben. He's been found guilty at their trial for trying to burn down the cabin with them inside, and they're trying to figure out what to do with him. Obviously,
Who's gonna do it?
well, obviously they decide, yes, they have to, they can't hold him there forever, so they have to get rid of him. They have to kill him. So it's just how they're going to do it and who's going to do it. They're trying to figure out a few things. Natalie thinks the most humane way is by firing squad, just to shoot him. So he's no, yeah, I know it's
You mean
no, no like torture or pain, it's just like quick and get it over with so he's not suffering pretty much. And then they have to figure out who's gonna do it.
Mhm.
So decide like they usually do with things like this. They have their the playing cards and they draw cards. Whoever gets the King of Hearts will be the one to do it. So as the title goes, did Ty do that? Ty picks the King of Hearts. She has to work herself up to try and do this, like shoot the coach, which I
Yeah.
think would be hard for anybody. I think it would be hard for anybody except for Shauna. I think Shauna would probably, because Shauna, I
She,
forgot what Shauna said she wanted to do.
I mean, she's from the beginning, she's down to get rid of him. So she doesn't care.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if they just, oh,
She
okay,
didn't even
Shauna,
want
you're
to do
gonna
the,
do it.
she didn't even want to do the trial. She just wanted to
Yeah,
like, he's
right,
guilty and that's it.
right.
Yeah, right. So other than Shauna, I think any of the girls will have a really hard time
Hmm.
to because it's Coach Ben, right? This guy that's been is their team coach that they've known for a long time. That's so it's a hard thing. So she's trying to work herself up, trying to um like kind of like target practice, trying to figure out how to shoot the gun
Yeah.
and just figure out how she's gonna actually do it because
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
hard
did
moment.
you guys notice that, the title of this episode, Did Ty Do That, is really a play on the famous
Family Matters.
from Steve Urkel. I don't know if you
Yeah.
realize this.
Oh, you know what?
So,
When
and
I
I
I,
didn't
I
talk
first
about
saw it,
automatically saw the title and I read it
yeah.
in my mind like, did Ty do that?
Yeah, so did
Automatically thought
I.
that.
I didn't.
But I didn't
They
know
did
how that was
mention
gonna I didn't know
they
how it
did
was gonna
mention it.
play
Yeah.
off. I didn't know how it was gonna play in the show, but they did mention in there while Ty was getting the guts to kind of do this target practice to do what she needed to do. Um, she was being told, you need to change your persona and change into a different person. You know how Steve Urkel was Stephen Urkel, and they made her
Stefan Urkel.
Stefan Urkel, and so obviously this is in the 90s when that show was very
Oh,
popular. So it was
yes.
in the forefront of mind. No one said Family Matters, but we all know that if we grew up that during that time, we know the show, we know what it's about. So yeah, so that was definitely a play on
I didn't pick
that.
up on that.
Yeah, that was definitely a play on that show and that phrase that he always said on the show.
Used. Yeah.
I
I
didn't pick
mean,
up on that at all.
I love that. I love that it's also a 90s flashback and that,
Well,
they
yeah, I
all
mean, it makes sense. They're talking about it. That's a show they probably just watched
remember.
the last
Yeah, they just
episode
watched
before they went on that
exactly.
plane.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
know the show, right? It's a popular show then. I like how they weave all these 90s, like with the music on the show too, and just
Yeah.
the little mentions here and there, how they weave 90s things into the show. Well, so that was one for there. I don't know what they're gonna do next week, but
Yeah. That was yeah. That's pretty good. I remember they mentioned the Family Matters thing, and because Ty had in the first in the I think it was the first season, there were moments when Ty was sleepwalking and she like was
hmm
es- essentially a different person. Like she changed herself into a different person, somebody a little more ruthless, more like I guess daring.
she did
So
it
then
again in this episode.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Well, that
we'll talk about it. Yeah,
that's what Van was trying to get out of her. That she
yeah,
said you might have to change. Like remember when you were when at first when you used to be able to, when you were sleepwalking or whatever, said you need to tap into that to
Yeah.
change your
Transform.
to change your like, your way of thinking so you can just get it over with and not think about this thing too much, blah blah blah. And that's what she was mentioning about Steve Urkel when he would drink the potion and turn into the cool guy, and she wanted Van to do that. I mean, she wanted Ty to do that too, so she's trying to. So that's how it was brought
and
up, but I didn't
they
put
even
that
said the
together with the
cool juice.
title.
They even said the cool juice. That's what it was, cool juice.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't.
I thought it was so
Yeah, yeah,
funny that
yeah.
they
No,
did
I know.
that. I forgot
She's
about
like,
that
wait a minute. So
part.
the normal me is not cool.
Right. So the normal me is Steve Urkel. Got it.
Circle, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. That was good. I didn't put that together with the title of the episode at all, but yes, makes total sense. Makes total sense. I thought they just meant did Di do it like did she actually shoot him or
No,
something like that.
it's
No,
a play
but
on
no,
two
no, I
things.
know it means that too,
Definitely.
but that's all I was thinking about. I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking
Yeah.
about it in the other
Yeah.
way.
Well, if you've noticed, it's when I first looked at it, I will say I wasn't like Sonia. When I first looked at the title, I didn't automatically think about it. But then when I reread it, I said it in Urkel's voice. But the first time I looked at it, I was like, that's kind of boring, unless it's did Ty do that? And then I was like, oh my God, it probably is. And then it was. So I was
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised because I will say that like if you noticed all of the titles, like they go in they kind of like go in some sort of flow with something either obviously
Yeah,
in
it
the
goes
episode,
with
but
the episode.
with like the history of the 90s in a way, or songs, or like it's got two themes basically.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't think about that
good
either.
job. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So whatever. We find out that Ty gets picked, so she's the one that's gonna have to deal with shooting Coach Ben. Um, and then what else is going on in the 90s? Coach is tied up, waiting to find out what's going on with him. And Akila's there with her rabbit. A rabbit, I think that was sick, or the mother of the rabbit was sick or something. So she was the one that's been taking care of like the animals and everything. And he's trying to help her. So my mom used to take care of kittens or raise kittens, so that you have to make sure, you have to feed her and do all this stuff. And he was trying to, and she's trying to ask her, what are they gonna do with me, or what are they gonna do with me? And she said, I don't know anything. They don't tell me anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Misty comes with some food. It's like a whole fish with like, a
It was really
salad,
good.
which like leaves and stuff. I know leaves and flowers because,
Farm to table, guys. Farm
Yeah,
to table.
it
the
was.
table. And so he's like, wow, like so, you kind of like assume right away that like this is this fancy meal because it's your last meal.
Yeah.
And she starts crying and she says they're coming to get you soon and to basically get rid of you, like shoot you or whatever, like to kill
But
you.
she told him firing
Yeah,
squad coming.
because he had no idea what they were gonna do. I don't think he necessarily thought that they were gonna kill
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
They would, you know. So he was really shocked by that and like, what? Like,
Hmm.
So, he has to sit there for a little while until they come, and it's a tough spot to be in.
Worse, yeah.
A
Yeah.
very tough spot to be in. Uh, well, anyway, we go back to the present time, and Shauna starts stalking Misty. Right, so she starts stalking Misty. She sees Misty coming out of her house, goes in a car, starts driving. She starts following her. After a while, Shauna notices that someone's following her,
Yeah.
getting really close to her too.
Hmm.
So much so that she pulls out from where she's driving, to chase Misty, and like in the alley, and this car pulls up right behind her, like, and she gets out and finds out, and who is it? Walter, because Walter thinks that Shauna.
Yeah.
Bless you.
I didn't.
No, no, no.
No, she wasn't doing that.
I was yelling
There's
at
a there's
EJ
a
because
there's
he
a
came to
there's
the
a
door.
Oh.
Um, I don't want to
I
look
was
like
yelling at my first son.
outside, but I was trying to get him not to, make a lot of noise. Anyway, so Walter is following Shauna because we know that Walter doesn't thinks that Misty's friends are no good, and obviously they all know he knows that Shauna has done this before, right? She's murdered before because she murdered that her lover in I think the first season. And also she brings up to Walter, it's like, well, it's not like you're innocent either because at the compound you and Misty killed someone too. So you guys don't have it's not like you guys don't have blood on your hands. So it
Yeah.
could be anybody, but I didn't do it. And blah, blah.
Hmm.
So they kind of decide to join forces to try and figure out what is going on,
And
right? And
I feel like Misty told him stuff about what happened in the past, especially like with Shauna and things. So besides the whole
he
thing,
he knows, yeah, he does
yeah,
know
he
some
knows
stuff that he's
things.
not letting on that he
Mhm.
really like knows, right?
Yeah.
So and Shauna gets upset that, you made me lose. I was trying to follow Misty and you made me lose sight of her or whatever. And he says, well, I have a pretty good idea of where she's going. So let's team up and we can try and so they go on their way. We don't know where they're going. We see Misty goes into a building. It looks like a hotel,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it was really
It's
a
not a
hotel.
hotel. It's
It's a
not.
it's a
It looks like
it's
it.
a building.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's New York City, right? So it's like a
That's
one
a,
of
It's like
those.
that's
a residential
It's a
building.
residential.
Kind
Yeah,
of
it's New York.
something that
I keep forgetting that they part of it. They're in New York, so this
yeah.
they're part of it. And they're in New York City and stuff. So yeah,
And it's
it's
one
one
of
of those.
those like Park Avenue buildings. It
It's
looks
those.
very
But
fancy.
yeah, yeah,
it looks fancy.
one of those like high end condo buildings or something, whatever. So but it is the place where they found Lottie.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of sneaks into one of like the back areas, I guess, going down to like a basement or boiler room or something, or back door, and tries to find clues. She sees what looks like scratches, like nail scratches on a wall. And she brings out her little baggie with what the little clippings from the under the nails. Um, and it looks like it might match what the color of paint was on the
Yeah.
wall where the scratches were taken out. So
Mm-hmm.
so she's like, thinking she's on the right track and whatever. And then she starts talking to the doorman and asking about Lottie. And then we find out that he's known Lottie since she was a little girl, that they lived in that building until her parents got divorced, and then she moved out with her mother, but the father's been living there. So, recently Lottie's been staying there with her father, which was news to Misty. So she decides to go up there and try to get into the apartment to try and first of all, she's looking
Yeah.
for her phone because in the bag from the morgue, her phone wasn't there. So she's trying to find her phone, Lottie's phone. So she goes in there to try and, be sneaky Misty and manipulate her way in to the father's penthouse, which the father has like a nurse or attendant there because it seems that the father has maybe like Alzheimer's or dementia or something. Doesn't really know what's going on. So I think she uses that a little bit too. So
Hmm.
she was able to get in to try and look for stuff. And while she's in there, she sees Walter and Shauna in there, who disguise themselves as like cable or telephone workers,
Like
trying
IT
IT or
people.
something,
Yeah.
right? And they're also there to look for clues and um trying to find stuff going on there. So they butt heads a while they're in there trying to find all this information. They're Shauna and Walter are trying to get info from Lottie's computer or her laptop. So they're running like some kind of program or something to try and find some stuff off of that. So all trying to get some clues. Don't know what they're gonna find.
By the way, I just in this scene I just thought it was so funny how they kept trying to like um gang up on the dad and like get the dad on their side.
Yeah,
So like
Yeah.
Misty would like talk to him just to like so that the other didn't find the clues before the other.
right.
Um yeah.
Total
They're
manipulation.
trying to get
Poor
the
guy.
other party out of the place because
Yeah.
they were ready. Missy's in it with Shauna. Missy's in it with has gotten into it with Shauna. Missy's gotten into it with Walter. So they're
Yeah.
not on the best terms right now. So I
And
think
at
at one
some
point
point
even
Shauna even thinks that like Shauna and what's his name? Walter is like they're like together
oh
like
yeah,
other
Right.
in another
like
sense and he's
oh
like, "Oh no, we're just like partners in this mystery."
Yeah.
she's like
Yeah.
it's strictly professional, strictly professional.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, so there's a lot going on in there, trying to find out stuff from about Lottie. Um, Meanwhile, we let's see, we go back to the 90s. Something else we got to talk about this, or we go back? Can we go back
We
to the
could go back to the 90s. Yeah.
90s? Okay, so we're going back to the 90s. It's time to shoot Coach Ben, right?
Yeah.
Um, while the girls are trying to, get all that figured out. Lottie and Travis take Akila back to the cave where they a couple of them hallucinated um to get and well Travis told Lot because Lottie been working on Travis thinking that Travis has kind of like a oneness with the wilderness because of things he was seeing when he was drinking that tea and stuff um and he in past episodes he's has seemed very uncomfortable with kind of being Lottie's project for this. And in another episode he does mention to Lottie, well, um in one of his like visions he did see that someone else there was more connected to this thing, and he glances over at Akela. So right there, Lottie is trying to like, okay, they got to figure out how she's gonna incorporate her to try and communicate or whatever with this thing or get better acquainted with it, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, so they've been talking to her about it, and then they take Akila to the cave and trying to reassure her, um, we're gonna be there for you, Travis. Like, I'm not gonna leave you alone. We're gonna be there for you when you faint, when you like pass out from this thing, I'll be there to catch you. Travis is having a hard time with this because he knows that he made it up and he doesn't want her to be hurt. But Lottie's kind of like pushing her, like you have to reassure her that so she doesn't back out. We have to do this. So they go in the cave, and like last time, when they get past a certain point, Lottie, Akila passes out. She starts having a vision. We don't see what it is right away. When they go in to find her and she's passed out, when she comes to, start asking her, what did you see? She said she was it was like there was like a cliff and she was walking over the cliff and she realized it was the coach. the coach and they showed it, right? It was a cliff she was walking over. It's kind of like in darkness, and she was walking over like a big. It reminded me kind of Gulliver's Travels, when
Mhm.
the guy was there with like the little people, and he was essentially laying across like the cliff here and cliff here. He was laying across it, and she was walking on top of him, and she said she saw him, she could feel him breathing in her vision. She's trying to get past this cliff, and Lottie's asking her, "What did you see on the other side?" And she said it was like darkness, but in the vision, we see some like faint lights and what sounds like, traffic, like cars. So you can assume that those lights were like headlights.
Yeah.
Motivation.
Society, back
Yeah.
to
Right. Yeah. So we don't, and uh, after that, the scene goes back to the main area where the girls are. They bring the coach and put him up against a tree, and he's pleading for his life. You can't do this, and don't do this, and blah blah blah. And they're like, "Oh, we have to do this," and they went to put a sack over his face, and he's like, "No, if you're gonna do this, I don't want that. Look at me in the eye," and blah blah. And like, "No, you don't make the rules here." And they put on the thing. And Ty is like, you can see she's kind of like hesitating a little bit because she's like, it's hard for her to do that, and she's trying to aim and focus, and after a while, you see her like her persona completely change. Um, and she turns into this, that other personality, like when she was sleepwalk.
The founder Kella, if you will.
Stefan Urkel, let's just call it that. Um, and right as she shoots the gun, Travis and Lottie rush the tree and yank the coach out. And they and Ty shoots the tree. Just missed him. Just missed him. What are you guys doing? What's the? You can't shoot him. You can't shoot him. And Akila says he is the key.
yeah, he's the
He's the
bridge.
bridge.
The bridge.
Bridge.
He's
Yeah.
the bridge to lead us out of here. He's gonna get us out of here. So that's what her vision meant, or at least that's what they think her vision meant. He was gonna be the bridge that they can essentially walk across, and he was gonna help them reach society. I mean,
Somehow.
somehow, meaning the headlights that they saw, they're gonna get back to civilization. He's the bridge. So he can't die. We need him. So I have to say that my whole thought of him being around in the present time was lost for a minute because I thought they were gonna kill him. So like he can be around. But obviously, because of this, it's possible that he's still around in the present time. So he still has a chance to show up.
Yeah.
So um I don't know. I don't know what this all means. I don't know what they're gonna do with this. Um, I don't know what this means with the present time with Lottie's death. You know that
Well,
we
I feel like obviously based on what we already know that Ben didn't, even if he's alive in the present time, he did not do that because she saved him.
well
But we don't know
after
what,
this episode possibly, but we don't know what's gonna happen going
why.
forward.
That's why I said based on what we know now,
Right.
he couldn't have killed her in the present
Yeah.
time if he's still alive. But we don't know what's going to happen from now until they get
Right.
out of
We
this.
don't know. We don't know
Oh,
what else that is gonna come up.
you never know.
And he could just be no matter what happened and who helped him back then, he could just be on this revenge mode and just want to get rid of all of them. Who knows?
Maybe.
So I don't know. We just have to see what happen with this because There's a lot going on. Every episode, we get more and more info, and more is going on.
So just from this episode, what just kind of what are you most looking forward to? Are you looking forward to what's happening with Coach Ben? Are you
I mean,
looking
I want to
forward?
know. I want to definitely want to know what happened with Coach Ben. I want to know if he's still alive in the present time. If he is, how is he involved in the girls' lives, if at all?
Yeah,
But I also
sure.
kind of want to see how Shauna transitioned from being this ruthless,
Yes.
Yeah.
bitter, like mean, I don't give a fuck person
I mean, to be
to
honest, right.
this kind of family person now. I mean, now I know she's getting into other things now because of what happened in the previous seasons, and she's entangled in these other things. But she did at some point, she got married, she had a child, she had like this family life. How she changed from that to that, because now in this in the past world, in the 90s world, in the wilderness, she's like off the rails.
Yeah,
And
she right.
and we want to also mention how they decided not to off Ben at the moment, but she came back. Shauna came back with her girlfriend.
Oh,
They
yes.
Oh
got to
yeah.
figure out a way to stop him potentially from escaping.
The thing
So they,
about Shauna is that she is a manipulator, at least from like, I think she's constantly manipulating her
Oh,
entire
yeah.
life, her entire life. So, like, yeah, I'm interested in how when she got out of this world, how it sort of in some ways softened her, and how like the revelation and coming back to the group kind of put her back into that world. And in a sense, she's still to me, she still comes off a little like bully like
Well,
she
I don't
wants
think
to be in
I
control.
don't think she necessarily went soft. I think at some point she just had to fake the funk, and to have a normal life, that's what you
Yeah.
have to do.
No, I don't mean it softened her, but I
No,
mean
no, but I'm
it,
just saying
I think in some ways,
I think her real persona is that kid persona more than the like the happy family,
oh
like
yeah,
calm one. I think
right.
that's part of her too, obviously, because she's grown up and she has a kid and blah blah blah. But as we've seen from the beginning of the show from the first season, when all the stuff was coming back, it wasn't necessarily hard for her to like go back to like those kind of ways.
yeah.
It seemed to come pretty easily.
And it does seem like she, no matter what, she will do anything to protect her family, even if it
Yeah.
means murder, even if it means manipulation, even if it means deception. So she's still in
And
that mindset, but
essentially
it's
the
to
same
take
she
care of her
feels
family, to save her family.
essentially essentially the same way she feels about the Yellow Jackets. Because in theory that they're a family too. And although she seems to be like um although she seems to be like this hard person and stuff, she is kind of doing it to protect them too, because she thinks Ben tried to kill them, so she wants to get rid of Ben. So he's not there to hurt them. So
Yeah.
she has that instinct from the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, all these girls are obviously they're going through these traumatic experiences. At this point now in the present time, it seems, with the whole death of Lottie, it seems like they're starting to turn on each other and
Yeah,
trying to blame each other. We talked about how Shauna thinks Misty did it, Walter thinks Shauna did it, and we didn't mention also that Van did come off and say that she thinks possibly that Ty could have done this.
right. That's true.
So they're all starting to kind of
Right.
question things.
She was missing for a time when they were in New York
Yeah.
City.
They're starting to
And
question things and how things have been kind of forming. And I think at this point they just don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
yes.
So
I mean, and also just like I know you guys, so do you guys have any predictions? Because I'm really starting to
I don't
think
know
that
what's going on.
Shauna has something's up with Shauna. I think there's a lot more
Well,
to it.
I think there's a lot more stuff that happened in the wilderness that we don't have no idea about yet. And
Hmm.
once that stuff starts coming out, we're gonna see a bunch of stuff that Shauna did, possibly a bunch of stuff that some of the other girls have done
It's
that
so
we haven't
funny.
heard
It's
that we
so
haven't
funny
heard
to
about
see
yet.
that Shauna, like we were talking about, Shauna is this ruthless person back then, and now she's seemingly the family oriented person. And then how in the present world, when Natalie was with us still, she was the like the tough girl
Yeah,
and don't put up with shit. But back
right,
then, she was the one that was trying to save Ben and trying to be kind of the voice of reason. So
right. They switched roles.
who we think these people are now are not how they are. That's why I do believe also that Shauna is just putting on a mask, and that's the way
Yeah,
she really is, and she's showing this other
A
side
thousand
just for
percent.
society, just so
I agree.
to kind of
and
hide.
I agree.
we should mention at the end of this episode after they save Coach Ben. Obviously, Shauna wasn't happy. She went to him with Melissa, her little partner in crime that she's trying to indoctrinate into her little crazy world. And she went to make sure that, okay, he's safe for now, but make sure that he doesn't escape. And she makes Melissa, I think she cut his Achilles tendon,
She did,
right? She
she
did because
did,
my screen was a little dark, so it was like I wasn't sure, but
she
they
definitely
did take her
did.
foot and she said, "You do it." And they go back to the camp thing, and she goes, "He's not going anywhere." And then grabs Melissa's bloody hand, and they go into their little hut. And you just hear in the background Ben
She's
screaming,
screaming.
and the
Yeah,
girls go into their own huts, and that's how the episode ends.
yeah.
So she's definitely continuing with her little ruthless, persona. No matter what these girls decide to do, she's um, you know, uh, she's trying to show her dominance and like I'm not gonna let you guys manipulate me. This is what has to be done, and I'm taking care of shit. Whatever. So I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. Again, this is only episode 5, so we have a bunch of episodes left to go. You can catch
Halfway
us here.
through.
Yeah, halfway through. You can catch us here every week for new recaps of season 3 of Yellowjackets. Every new episodes are on Paramount Plus every Friday if you want to watch with us and watch our recaps. And as always, if you subscribe here to the Heartflick Chicks channel on YouTube, you can find all the episodes of our recaps, all our Heartflick Chicks podcast episodes. And we're on social media, so we hope you guys are following us there too. Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. We are also on TikTok, Heartflick Chicks. And thanks again, guys, for joining us. Sandra, Sonia, and Angie of the Heartflick Chicks. We'll be back again next week, and we hope you are too. And we'll see you then.
Yay!
Peace, love,
Peace,
and
love, and
heart.
horror!
Bye.
That's the end.